Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Inshira binti Nusharizal and my metric number is 2514718. My presentation is on the book Islam, Postmodernism and Other Futures by Ziauddin Sardar. According to Scholarly Community Encyclopedia, Ziauddin Sardar is a British Pakistani scholar, award-winning writer, cultural critic and public intellectual who specializes in Muslim thought, the future of Islam, futurology and science, and cultural relations. The main theme in this book is critique of modernity and postmodernism, where Sardar critiques Western modernity, who focus on science, progress, and domination, and postmodernism, which denies truth and values everything as relative. He says both fail to address spiritual and moral needs, while Islam, on the other hand, offer a balanced worldview combining faith, ethics, and reason. There are several issues in this book that captured my interest. The first one is crisis of Muslim identity and modernity, where the issue is Muslims struggle to define their identity within Western modernity without losing Islamic values. First, it is because Western modernity prioritizes human reason over religious revelation in terms of seeking knowledge and finding answers for everyday problems. Other than that, in chapter 1, page 27, Sardar says that serious rethinking within Islam is long overdue. Scholars and thinkers have been suggesting for well over a century that we need to make a serious attempt at ijtihad, at reasoned struggle and rethinking to reform Islam. He also states that Islam does not provide ready-made answers to all human problems, but provide a moral and just perspective within which Muslims must endeavor to find answers to all human problems. As a result, Muslims who are constantly troubled by doubts, worries, and serious moral quandaries regarding the state of Islam today need to reclaim the fundamental ideas of Islam and reinterpret them within a more comprehensive framework. The second point is cultural imperialism in postmodernism, where the issue is postmodernism claims openness but continues Western domination over knowledge and culture. Modernity was a period in which Western culture, values, and ways of thinking were treated as superior, while the non-Western cultures are pushed aside. During this time, the West controlled the narrative and silenced the voices of other societies. Postmodernism challenged this by rejecting the idea the one culture is above others. Instead, it encourages the recognition of many different cultural perspectives and treats them as equally valuable. In this way, postmodernism opens space for non-Western cultures to be acknowledged, respected, and heard, celebrating diversity rather than suppressing it. Although postmodernism criticizes the idea of modernity, many of the theories of postmodernism themselves are created in Western universities, media, and academic system. This means that even when non-Western cultures are included, they are often interpreted, filtered, or represented through Western frameworks. So, although postmodernism claims openness and equality among cultures, the West still maintains power over whose knowledge is recognized, how cultures are defined, and what is considered valuable. In this way, Western domination continues, just in a more subtle and indirect form. Ziauddin Sardar says in chapter 8, page 124, when the pendulum it swings from one extreme to another, both modernity and postmodernity are extremities, one on the flip side of the other, which means that Sardar said that Muslim societies often move between two opposite extremes, which is modernity that copying the West, prioritizing science, progress, and secular thinking, and postmodernity which rejecting fixed truth, encouraging cultural fragmentation and uncertainty. He says that both of these are extremes, not balanced position. So, when the pendulum swings, Muslims either fully accept Western modern values or completely reject them and withdraw into tradition. But both reactions are unbalanced and do not help Islam develop a confident, constructive way forward. Therefore, we need to seek our own individual identities within the context of our history, tradition, culture, and civilization. We must also analyze the power structure that shape those identities. Specifically, we must articulate how the economic, political, and gender relations of subordination and domination manifest in our everyday life. From my last issue is misrepresentation of non-Western cultures in media, where the Western entertainment, for example, Disney films, exploits and distorts non-Western identities. In chapter 9, page 128, Sardar states that Walt Disney has compulsively consumed history to provide a subtle, sophisticated reading for the old story, repropagandizing a tale that gained currency precisely as polemic propaganda masquerading as history. For example, we can see in the animated film Pocahontas, where the movie tells a tale of a romance between a young Native American woman named Pocahontas and Captain John Smith, who journeyed to the New World with other settlers to begin their fresh life. Her powerful father, Chief Powhatan, disapproved their relationship and wants her to marry a native warrior. Meanwhile, Smith's fellow Englishmen hope to rob the gold of the Native American. Disney claims to celebrate cultural diversity, but in fact it contradicts the story of the real Pocahontas, a young Powhatan girl who encountered English settlers in Virginia when she was about 10 to 12 years old, which is not a romantic partner to John Smith at all. It erases the authentic voices of the people it represents, and it's turning colonialism into a love story. It packages the other as entertainment for Western consumption. This matter also happened to Muslim identity, which according to Yasar 2021, in the Netflix television series Elite, we see a girl named Nadia, which this intelligent scholarship student wears a hijab in the first season of the series, and then the second season shows her removing her hijab and walking into a bar with a very sexy look. The problem here is not whether she wears a hijab or not, as this is completely a woman's personal decision. But the series clearly implies that Nadia became free only after removing her hijab. Does this whole representation reflect on how Western entertainment paints other cultures falsely? Therefore, we need to protest this false representation by creating maybe a petition to remove the scene as is mocking us and post clarification on social media that this scene does not represent us at all. In conclusion, the book Islam, Postmodernism and Other Futures emphasizes that Muslim civilization today is heavily influenced by Western system of knowledge, culture and power, which often leads Muslims to either imitate the West uncritically or reject it completely. Muslims must actively reconstruct and reinterpret Islamic knowledge, values, cultural identity in a way that remains rooted in Islamic principles while still engaging thoughtfully with the modern world. This book's key message is that Islam must regain its role as a dynamic, creative and self-confident civilization capable of shaping its future rather than allowing it identity to be defined by external forces. That's all from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.